What's going on? Welcome to the 5-Minute Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Colton Olson, and on this podcast, we spend about 5 minutes, I say about 5, give or take a couple sometimes, breaking down and teaching you to apply psychological concepts that world-class athletes, CEOs, coaches, and elite military units use to take their performance to the next level. The key word here is apply. I don't want you to come here and just get a bunch of information and not know how to use it. I want you to leave here every day feeling like you have something in your hands that you can use right away to improve your life. Let's get to it. I mentioned in the last episode that one of the most common concepts I'm asked about as a performance psychologist is mental toughness, and more specifically, what types of things people can do to become more mentally tough. So the best way to explain this is first define mental toughness, and then I'm going to break down the foundations or building blocks of mental toughness and then give you the tactics you need to develop it in your own life. So that's what we're going to do over the next few episodes. We're going to break down the definition, go through the building blocks, and then highlight the tactics. And we're going to start today by defining mental toughness. There's a lot of different definitions for this out there. Maybe the most common one is mental toughness is being comfortable being uncomfortable. I also hear a lot of people say mental toughness is being able to perform your best when your best is needed. Those are two good definitions. I think both of those work, but I define it a little bit differently. My definition of mental toughness is the ability to manufacture the mentality that best serves you in any given moment. I like this one because it focuses more on the mentality aspect of mental toughness, which I believe is the central piece. Mentally tough people have the systems in place to be able to channel whatever mentality is needed in important moments, and then that mentality is shown in their actions. It all starts with the mentality. It all starts with the thinking, though. In order to act and perform at a high level, you first need to solidify the mental piece. So again, being mentally tough means having the ability to manufacture the mentality that best serves you in any given moment. So now that we have that definition, we know what mental toughness is, let's get into the building blocks. And these are the things, these building blocks are what you're going to have to regularly check yourself on and practice on a consistent basis in order to develop mental toughness. It takes reps. So these first two building blocks are absolutely critical. They're non-negotiables in developing mental toughness. They're what I call default settings. So usually when we think about default settings, we think about dealing with technology. The default settings of any sort of technology are just the settings that are used at baseline. They come with the machine. Our mind also has default settings, meaning that we have certain thinking or decision-making styles that we use most of the time, things that we revert to on a regular basis. Our goal with these first two building blocks is to upgrade our mental default settings so that we're thinking and working in ways that set us up to perform at a high level on a consistent basis. And these first two building blocks that we're going to go over today are ownership and accountability. So in this sense, ownership refers to understanding and accepting that all of your behaviors and the consequences of your behaviors are a result of you. Mentally tough people own their behavior and the consequences of their behavior all the time, whether the results are good or bad. It's easy to own our behavior and their consequences when the results are good, when we do good things. It's hard when they're bad. So this means no blaming other people, no blaming objects, the weather. You can't blame your coworkers, classmates, referees, whoever. No blame game. And you also have to believe that if you want different results, the only way that can happen is adaptation on your end. So that's ownership. Accountability is an extension of ownership. It refers to the willingness to take responsibility for the future. A huge piece of accountability is understanding that even though sometimes you're going to get screwed over, you're going to get dealt an unfair hand, you are responsible for the future you create. So accountability is understanding that no matter what's happened, you're accountable, you're responsible for the future you're going to create. The second piece of accountability is committing to the mental or behavioral changes necessary to create that future. So you need to take responsibility for your future and be willing to commit to the necessary actions. Those are the first two building blocks, ownership and accountability. And here are the tactics you can employ to start upgrading those mental default settings today and increasing the ownership and accountability in your life. Tactic 1, make a list of the tasks you are required to complete or just pay attention to on a daily basis. Keep this list with you and you can add or subtract tasks as you need. And as you do your work, track the outcomes and then record how you contributed to those outcomes, whether it's good or bad. This helps you first gain a clear understanding of what you need to do and allows you to see the role you play in creating results. Again, the good and bad results. So it's going to be easy to track the good results. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm awesome. I just destroyed that project. Look at how great it was. But when things don't go your way, it's going to feel weird to write that down. It's going to feel weird to track that, but that's the important stuff. So, seeing your role and results shows ownership. It allows you to engage with that ownership piece more. Tactic 2, find an accountability buddy. The best way to increase your capacity for accountability is to find someone else who's going to hold you accountable to the goals that you've set. So remember, a giant piece of accountability is commitment. Having somebody else that can keep tabs on you significantly increases your commitment level. So find somebody that you trust that's in a similar area that can hold you accountable for creating the future that you're trying to create. Because you have to be committed, you have to be consistent. Tactic 3, learn to allocate all of your focus and all of your energy to tasks or situations that are within your control. So the famous Alcoholics Anonymous serenity prayer says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Ownership and accountability involve taking responsibility for everything you can control and then letting go of what you can't. Other people, other objects, things like that. You have to master yourself. So those are the tactics. Those are the first two foundations, ownership and accountability. That's all we got for today. If you enjoy the podcast, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review. Find me on Twitter at RaidoPsych, RAIDOPSYCH, and I'll see you back here next time on 5 Minute Mindset.